Story 1. I literally have nothing left to cut. I do not use any subscriptions anymore except a virtual private network. I do not eat out unless I have a gift card, and I only shop at thrift stores for clothing and household items and at Aldi for groceries. I honestly do not know what else I can cut out at this point. Story 2. Subscription services. Prime is not worth it anymore and just drives more spending on things I don't need. I have a rule of no more than one streaming service at a time, and I believe many people will adopt this rule. I am also considering cutting streaming TV. I will miss it for live sports, but otherwise I do not watch much. Many of these services have intentionally split themselves to force more subscriptions, and they are about to find out the consequences. Since this became popular, check if your local library system offers a streaming service. In my county, they have a partnership with Canopy, a streaming service that has an app for Roku, Apple TV, and Amazon Prime devices. It is completely free. Story 3. Well, I am about to get a good raise, so I guess it will balance out. I will still be walking a thin line between I am so stressed and it is going to be okay. Story 4. Live events and restaurants. I know people will mention subscriptions for television and entertainment services, but those are far less expensive forms of entertainment per hour than attending a concert or dining out in 2025. Story 5. After 6 years in the workforce, I was finally making enough money to save about $200 a month. Now, I am going back to being paycheck to paycheck because certain officials won a trade war. Story 6. In almost any kind of recession, the restaurant industry takes the biggest hit. I imagine this will have the same impact. When our metaphorical belts get tighter, our literal belts tend to get tighter as well. You can cut subscriptions, but most people will not be willing or able to cut $200 of subscriptions a month. Story 7. I was retired but had to get a retail job to buy groceries. I have not eaten at a restaurant that I paid for in over 2 years. I honestly do not miss it. Streaming services have been canceled. I have reduced my car insurance to the bare minimum. We eat a lot of rice and beans to lower grocery costs. I no longer maintain my yard with fertilizer and weed killer. I just found out my home insurance will increase by another $600 a year. This has never been a worse time in my life financially, and it is entirely due to Donald Trump. Story 8. I could literally cut food out of my budget and not make up the difference. People who voted for that foolish individual are the least intelligent people on the planet. Story 9. I have already reduced my streaming services to just one and eliminated soda and chips from my diet. I also lowered my phone bill from $200 per month to $30 per month with Spectrum. I plan to decrease dining out from twice a week to once a month. Additionally, I will cut out all beef and switch to pork and turkey, as they are the cheapest options in my area. Story 10. I am rebuilding my deck steps myself. At 73, I did not expect to be doing home repairs again. We have enough to pay somebody if they will come to do a small job. We are just not hiring for anything now to protect our shrinking savings balance. I really do not have anything we will or can cut. Story 11. Believe it or not, Halloween. I spent $80 last year to give out big bags to about 30 random children. Not this year. Story 12. Eating out, subscription services, buying from large online retailers, purchasing unnecessary items, and if necessary, buying from small local businesses. Story 13. I started cutting back on everything as soon as the election was over. I knew what was coming. If I have to cut out more, I guess the first thing to go is having food delivered. I do not mind cooking, but a break every now and then was a must. I guess not now. Story 14. I am already seeing a drop in food quality due to food inspections being reduced, so I will probably cut way down on food expenses. Story 15. I could easily absorb it, but prices have increased so much I do not feel like I am getting good value anymore. So I am cutting back on fast food, restaurants, expensive grocery items, and anything else I do not really need. I want to buy a truck, but prices are so high I cannot justify it. Story 16. I am doing more of my home maintenance myself. Under President Joe Biden, I reached the point where I could afford to hire people to do tasks I could do myself but would take time, such as painting, light repair, and deck replacement. From now on, I will do it myself. Many independent contractors are strong supporters of the Make America Great Again movement. In my small way, this targets the people responsible in my swing state. I have an electrician who is clearly against the Make America Great Again movement, and I will continue to hire them since I do not want to handle electrical work myself. However, I expect to save about $4,000 per year by doing other tasks myself. My barber who supports the Make America Great Again movement charges high prices and does not provide anything particularly special, so I plan to go elsewhere and have fewer haircuts. Story 17. If things get really bad, I might have to cut back on Make America Great Again hats, Make America Great Again shirts, Make America Great Again Cybertruck wraps, Make America Great Again house flags, and Donald Trump endorsed Bibles. But it is totally not a cult. I hope it does not come to that. Story 18. Cell phone plan, Netflix and Disney subscription, vacation, takeout and restaurants, new electronics, clothes, and pretty much everything that is not essential. Story 19. Discretionary spending. There are many things I plan to buy, as well as a minor remodel. Maybe I will make do with what I have and save money instead. Story 20. As a Canadian, aren't you all being told the tariffs are bringing in money? But as an aside, sorry that you are all in the same situation as us up here. Make your noise where it counts. Elbows up. Story 21. We don't go out to restaurants anymore except on very rare occasions. The value simply isn't there. The food? Mediocre. The price? Overpriced. The service? Poor. So we pay absurd prices for mediocre food and then add another 20% on top of the already overpriced food. Instead, we have taken the time to become incredible cooks. We find healthy and delicious recipes, get fresh ingredients, learn valuable skills, and now we eat meals that are better than most restaurants, much healthier and much cheaper. Our grocery bill runs about $150 a week for 2 people. That easily gets us 20 meals, 2 dinner portions, and 2 lunch portions for the following day at work. Not to mention the other quick meals and snacks we also buy. I would much rather spend $150 and get more than 20 meals that we can spend quality time making together than spend $150 to eat out maybe 3 to 5 times and feel like I am throwing money away on food I could make even better by cooking it myself. We were huge supporters of local businesses, but no more. Those dollars feel much better in our own pocket. An example of last week's meals. 1. Bulgogi beef bowls. 2. Creamy dill chicken with asparagus. 3. Beef bourguignon with mashed potatoes and a glass of red wine. 4. Barbecue turkey meatloaves with roasted carrots and potatoes. 5. Halloumi hummus bowls with pearl couscous. Story 22. I have cut expenses to the bone by renegotiating insurance and phone and internet services. The savings rate will have to decrease along with occasional impulse purchases. Story 23. Prime shipping usually takes 3 days or more now. Returns also have fees. Videos and streaming include commercials. I am considering canceling the service. Story 24. I am already cutting expenses. I probably go out to a sit-down restaurant once a month at most. Fast food and eating out happen maybe once a week. I have canceled all subscriptions and only keep one at a time. I have not gone to Best Buy or Walmart's tech section in a while because I do not want to waste money on impulse buys. Normally, I used to browse and pick up items, but now I am more conservative. I tip less and organize activities around how much they will cost. Basically, I am pulling away from the economy and things I used to buy without a second thought. Now, I think twice and purchase less frequently. At least my savings are growing. Story 25. Pretty much everything that makes me happy. Leisure activities that I once enjoyed are now priced out of reach, not just because the leisure activities themselves became more expensive, but because everything else has become more expensive to the point that I no longer have the disposable income to enjoy myself. It does not make for a miserable life, but certainly an uninteresting one. Story 26. Eating out, going for drinks, anything superfluous. I am already eating and cooking more at home. I will go out to eat once every other week or so. I definitely am not buying any big purchases until after Trump is gone, such as electronics, cars, home, and so on. I am lucky enough to save money and only have rent as my biggest cost, but even making good money, housing costs are way too expensive. That principle needs to come down. Story 27. Some of the challenges will not directly affect me. No car means a significant cost is avoided. I will likely extend technology replacement timelines and avoid luxury technology purchases. I will probably forego buying some European agricultural products I normally would. I expect a decrease in out-of-home entertainment for profit, such as fewer or no concerts, less bar drinking, and less restaurant dining. There will be a reduction in non-essential clothing purchases. There will be an increase in quality time with friends at the park or dining room table. More time spent in nature, home-cooked meals. Story 28. I did not buy the brand new electric lawnmower that I had been saving for several years to purchase. It looks like the $50 Marketplace Honda gets another year of life support. Story 29. I am not going to have to. I make enough that the tax cuts will far eclipse any cost of living increases from more expensive items. I spend only 10 to 15% of what I make. This whole tax policy is a horrible idea. The notion that I will get another $50,000 back from the government while others will not have healthcare is unfair. I voted for Kamala Harris. I contributed to the Harris campaign. I like leopards ate my face. Story 30. An extra $2,400 a year is a significant hit. To stay afloat, I would prioritize cutting discretionary spending like dining out, subscriptions, or non-essential shopping. Essentials like housing, utilities, and healthcare have to stay, so trimming extras is the only real option. Story 31. But I thought tariffs were good for the American people. Do not the other countries pay the bill? Story 32. I am basically not spending money on anything but lodging and food. Am I bored? Yes. Will I have enough money to leave this country in the next 10 years? Yes. Story 33. My local subreddit created a list of all the Make America Great Again owned small businesses, and I have been avoiding them. Before I knew, I used to frequent several of these businesses. I imagine many local subreddits have similar lists of businesses to avoid. Story 34. I currently have no income and am living on savings. I do not eat out. I have signs all over my house saying no more thrift, because I cannot control my impulse buys. I make my own clothes and clothes for my child. I am a skilled cook, and a friend gave me a sustainable living book. So I can make a variety of things in a pinch. My main splurge is a season pass to my local amusement park, which includes a drink and meal plan. I only drink 1 soda per day there, and I use Powerade to stay hydrated along with 2 meals. Donating blood helps balance out some extra expenses. Story 35. I would cut out the government by declaring myself to be one of those sovereign citizens. Story 36. Why cut when you can just go deeper into debt, declare bankruptcy, and make it someone else's problem? Isn't that the Donald Trump blueprint to success? Story 37. Honestly, the items subject to tariffs. The only way to end this situation is to reduce the benefits Team Trump's administration receives from it. Buy fewer or no tariff products, and they will collect fewer or no tariffs. It is a good time to embrace anti-consumerism. Story 38. On top of the real fear of continued rising prices, I was pulled into my boss's office yesterday and told I need to cut my hours down to 33 a week. Before the COVID-19 pandemic, I was on a salary, then moved back to hourly. Our business is struggling hard. We laid off 3 people recently, and now we are starting to get our hours cut. I feel like I can't cut any more from my budget. I have been looking for a new job on and off for years with no luck. I have applied for part-time jobs too, and nothing. Story 39. The Master of Business Administration crowd is so blinded by greed, they don't see there is no blood left in the stone to squeeze. This includes the business people who seem to keep getting hired in government. This Las Vegas death is the perfect example. Las Vegas functioned because it was cheap to go to. The hotels, food, and basic entertainment were very affordable. They got you in the casino. If you only spent $500 on hotel, dinner, and travel, another $200 to $300 at the casino was fun, and they got their profit. If you didn't gamble, well, you got a nice trip. Maybe next time you'll try the slots. Now the parking is expensive, the basic restaurants are airport priced. Rooms are astronomical not because of base price but resort fees, credit card holds to check in, and God forbid you get room service or want to use the mini fridge to keep a bottle of water cold. They charge you to use the mini fridge in some hotels. It's not fun anymore, at all. Then, if you do go to the casino, that's not fun because you spent your last pennies on dinner. Or you have people who, because they are spending a month's wages, feel the need to go buck wild and are horrifically drunk, violent, or vomiting on the carpet. Then they wonder why people under 45 don't come to Las Vegas in droves. Why would I? I live 2 hours away, and I only go to that city to use the airport. Story 40. I do not buy anything anymore at this point. Just basics. No new clothes. No new trinkets. No extra money for them right now. Paying everything on rent and bills for the last couple of years now. At least. Story 41. In reality, it is closer to death by 2,400 cuts. Everyone just ends up paying more for the same thing or less, little by little, until you notice you are hardly saving any money anymore. I have a supermarket receipt from a year ago, and pretty much everything is up by at least 10%. Frozen vegetables, oatmeal, and chocolate is up by more than 50%. Story 42. First, I need to determine what I buy that comes from overseas. Not the once or twice a decade purchases like phones, but what I get consistently on a monthly basis from other countries. Some food items like coffee, tea, and bananas. Imported fruit in general, I suppose. Story 43. 2,400 is basically what I take home in a month, so I would probably die or starve since we could not survive on just my wife's income. Story 44. If I need to trim $2,500 right now, all groceries will be pre-planned only from Sam's Club, Aldi, and Kroger delivery. Most streaming services will be canceled immediately. Pirating will be considered again. My theme park passes, I live in Florida, will be downgraded or eliminated. The theme parks I keep where I spend my free time will be my sole third place, along with city and county parks. Swap out some hobbies for cheaper ones. No more eating out or fast food. Keep snacks like crackers in the car. Story 45. We are unfortunately doing what the GOP members want. Delaying retirement, also billionaires receive another significant tax break. Story 46. I will postpone buying the new car I was considering. However, we do not spend much as there are 2 adults and no children at home, and we already have everything we need. I am not sure what else to adjust. Story 47. My wife and I are cutting all spending outside of necessities and focusing on paying off loans, aside from our mortgage. Truthfully, we are financially okay and have extra, but I intended to cut unnecessary expenses anyway, and this seems to be a good catalyst for me. Story 48. Vacations. We have an upcoming trip to Chicago in 2 weeks to see our daughter graduate from the United States Navy boot camp. But that is it. No more fun trips since everything is out of control. Story 49. I'm already entering my Great Depression era. I will try to spend as little money as possible and reuse as much as I can to prevent any negative effects this may have. Story 50. We are cutting Paramount Plus and Hulu. We no longer buy any soda or snacks. None. We only purchase what is on sale. We actually buy fewer groceries now, make them stretch, and have leftovers often. Story 51. I've stopped driving anywhere except to work. No paid streaming services. We don't eat out and we make coffee at home. I take a few prescriptions that I am still buying. I wonder what I can live without. We will need to adjust the thermostat again and limit washer loads and dishwasher use to the absolute minimum. We are already hanging clothes to dry instead of running the dryer. We make cookies instead of buying snacks. 2 dinners a week are cereal or toast. There is just not much left to cut. Maybe cancel internet and only use phone service. Story 52. I won't do anything because I already started back in March. I live close enough to my job that I was using my car for everything, and I've switched to an electric bike to help reduce the amount of money I spend on gas. Even with my Corolla, I was spending about $20 every week because I did so much city driving. I can also extend how long I need to go between routine car maintenance. Plus, using my bike has had the added benefit of forcing me to get some cardio exercise and change my diet and sleep schedule to avoid biking in the Texas heat. I've already cut down on streaming services, and I only eat out if I have a deal and if the amount of food I get means that I'll have some leftovers. I want to get at least 2 to 3 meals out of food I get when eating out to spread the cost of the meal when possible. Story 53. Restaurants, travel to visit family, gifts, cutting my own hair, I do not care, and taking on more do-it-yourself projects around the house. Story 54. There is not much more to cut. 2 years ago, we stopped taking vacations. Last year, we stopped going out to eat. This year, we dropped our gym memberships, streaming services, and basically all other subscriptions. We recently had back-to-back emergencies that reduced our emergency fund to $200. I am scared right now and do not know what to do. We are one bad day away from being in debt. Story 55. Donations to the Republican Party seem like a good place to start. I am so confused. I was told China would pay the tariffs. Was former President Donald Trump mistaken again? Is this the whole Mexico will pay for the wall issue again? Story 56. Replacing my car. I have wanted to since 2021. I have been saving up, but it would be fiscally irresponsible to make the purchase now. Story 57. Took what I had saved for a down payment on a house and bought a mobile home outright. My monthly rent is roughly 10% of my monthly income, and my total monthly expenses are 30% of my monthly income. I knew trouble was coming, and I was lucky enough to be prepared. Story 58. I will need to cut all the extras. I will reduce my additional activities before letting my children go without. Story 59. I already do not go out much and eat at home 5 to 6 days a week. I do not take vacations. My car is 11 years old, and I need dental work. There is not much left for me to give up. Story 60. I already eat 1 meal a day. I watch no television. My cable and internet are free through my homeowners association. I guess I am going to have to stop living. Story 61. Cutting all discretionary spending. Switch to a no-frills cell service. Cut subscriptions. Eating oatmeal. Replaced zero-sugar soda with water. Cancelled vacation. We will not be celebrating Christmas this year either. Story 62. Well, assuming that $2,400 figure is even close to accurate, and let's be honest, that is a big assumption, I guess it is goodbye to eating out. We already mostly cook at home, but the occasional takeout burger night is officially over. Probably have to reduce spending on streaming services as well. Do I really need 5 different platforms to watch reruns of The Office? Maybe it is finally time to learn how to pirate content. Just kidding, mostly. Seriously though, ramen is going to be back on the menu more often. Story 63. Reducing items from the grocery list, buying fewer products from online retailers, canceling one streaming service and going out less. Story 64. Food, prescription medication, streaming services, get the cheapest tier for internet, gym and supplements and therapist visits. Quality of life things are going to have to go, I guess. Story 65. Going out to eat or drink. We have already significantly reduced going out lately, but given the current situation, we will probably reserve it for special occasions like birthdays or graduations. I feel bad for the local restaurants, as I have seen a few close recently. Story 66. No, that is incorrect. The money is going directly into the pockets of supporters who voted for Donald Trump. Manufacturing is returning, and wives are back in the kitchen preparing dinner. Story 67. Cutting non-essential expenses first, such as dining out or streaming services, would be the quickest way to absorb the financial impact. Story 68. I have a coworker who goes to Starbucks 3 times a week. That is about 30 times a month, 120 a month, and 1,400 a year. If you are eating out for lunch or dinner, that really adds up. The same coworker who goes to Starbucks also gets a regular manicure and pedicure. She is working a second job and honestly doesn't understand. Many people are living paycheck to paycheck, but many refuse to live within their means. Story 69. Time to really try to curb my Faberge egg addiction. In reality, less dining out, making clothes last longer, less complex meals at home. Story 70. Nothing unless I lose my job. We already cook a little more these days, which saves some money and is also fun and healthier. Story 71. I don't know, my minimum credit card payments have skyrocketed. So using them is not an option even though they're not half maxed out. I'll have to cut subscription services like many others are saying. I went out to eat with my parents about a week ago. It was the first time we had eaten out in almost 5 years. It will probably be 5 more years until we feel financially comfortable enough to do it again. Everything is tight, and I don't know what to do. Story 72. Stay afloat? There is no afloat. This is the same thing they did when they caused the Great Depression and Dust Bowl. However, I suspect that will be seen as less severe compared to the other. Story 73. I suppose I can stop the insulin and heart medications. Vitamins are not necessary at 65. I can go back to ramen and Kraft macaroni and cheese. I survived on it in the late 1970s. I own the house, so maybe I can stop the homeowners association fees. I should be able to keep my heart beating long enough to avoid homelessness. As long as the leader can continue his weekly $3 million golf games, birthday parades, and spend $1 billion fixing up his flying palace to keep himself happy, I will go out one happy woman. Story 74. Meat. I will probably cut beef out of my diet entirely, though I haven't bought a steak since 2 birthdays ago. Ground beef is still around $5 a pound. Then I would make meat an every other day item and never purchase any meat that costs more than $3.50 per pound. If inflation increases slightly, I might be forced to go vegetarian. Story 75. Streaming services, all subscription services. Dining out, movies, entertainment, and, where possible, any purchases from large corporations. Story 76. I'm starting to budget right now. I recently got a loan to consolidate my credit cards to stop the financial drain from those. With that, I should be able to pay it off in roughly 2 years and hopefully focus on paying off my house to eliminate all my debts. My wife and I have no children, and we keep our bills separate. My goal this year is to finally get my finances in order so that whatever the fallout from this presidency, it won't affect this household going forward. I can't believe I'm making almost $80,000 a year and still living paycheck to paycheck. Story 77. What's a shame is that by the time the next president takes office, the United States will be so dependent on this new tax revenue that it will be impossible to reverse. Story 78. Streaming services are canceled. We have a calendar of days without eating out. Our budget for monthly dining out is $150 in a very high cost of living area. We are currently on our last vacation for the foreseeable future. No new clothes, no going out. The only discretionary spending will be toward our hobbies, and that is about it. Are we great again? Story 79. I use a broken Fire Stick, then download a particular app or two my friend told me about. There are more apps I could get if I so desired. It is not always flawless, but I can access both United States and international TV and movies, including pay channels like Netflix and Hulu. All free, but as I mentioned, it is not a flawless method, mainly due to issues with catching a good stream of what you want sometimes out of several streams offered. Story 80. Taxes. We should all stop paying federal taxes. It is American. Taxation without representation. Go ahead, Congress, take more days off to avoid doing your job. Story 81. Save your money, save your country. Non-United States citizens, do not buy United States goods. United States citizens, save all the money you can. This is not going to be a short fight. They are going to do everything they can to keep power. Thanks a bunch for sticking around till the end of the video. Remember to subscribe, and until next time, stay awesome and goodbye.